And so on the US CAD, this was at 7:15 this morning. Here's where the alert was. It was an ascending wedge, so I started my A down low. I looked at where the alert was. I came back to see where a significant pivot was, and there's one all the way back in here before the daybreak yesterday. So we could actually, let me pull this back here a little bit. It was ascending, so you wanted to be coming to the upside. And here's the hit, and now I'm looking for this thing to come down and test the wedge. There's a Fibonacci zone right here, which we'll pay attention to. I like the fact it's right there at the wedge, because if it breaks, it should be able to go down a little bit lower. Same way to the upside. I pretty much picked an area where there was a lot of wicks in this whole area, but so I took the B right here at this before this last little drop here came back up. This is all pretty much of a fresh area. So I start my B here, my C, which is in line, and now I have my D looking for it. And here's the hit. So here's my anchor, here's my midpoint hit, and here's the other end of the trend line. So that makes that a valid trend line. And we'll go to the bottom here, and this is our 2 pip area for our entry to buy zone. And I'll do the same thing down at the bottom for entry to sell. And I'm just going to put, what I'm going to do is just put a parallel line right along this trend line. And then I'm going to bring it on down 2 pips, just give us a little bit of a zone to work with. Then this can be 4, 5. Let's see right there, it's at 34.063, 34.043 is what I'm looking at right about there. This is our 15-minute chart. I'm going to make this our entry to sell. Come over to the 1-minute chart, and we're going to fine tune those points on the trend line. I'm going to come over here to see where my D is. I'm going to move that over to the absolute top of it that I can. See where my B is. Move that over just a little bit. And we're going to be looking down the same thing for the A, which is all the way over here. Try and keep this as precise as we possibly can. Here's my C. And like I said, we're still inside the wedge. There's no real clear direction right now. We're just waiting for it to break out. I'm going to watch about this pivot right here as an area for this thing to come down to. Here's our 30 exponential moving average, 30 minute 62 exponential moving average, I should say. I expect it's going to be, you can see where it came down here. It tested that area before it went back on the upside. And I really don't know which direction this thing is going to go. It's pretty much right in the middle of the wedge, and we're just going to have to be patient with it and see how it pans out here. Any questions so far?
I'm not seeing any in the chat as of yet. Guys, use the Q&A if you can. And we're also going to try something new today if you guys want to. We have the ability for you guys to raise your hand, and we're going to play around. We haven't been in this Zoom under a webinar for a while, and we're going to allow you guys to open up your mic if you have a question. If you happen to raise your hand, I'll try to see it, and or even possibly if you want to show something, I think you can do that as well. So we're going to try to see if we can make this even more interactive than we are currently. So we're going to try, Al.
Okay, that would be good. I feel like I'm talking to myself half the time and not sure if anybody's really listening or paying attention.
We're going to try.
So we can see. Other than that, there's really nothing else going on right now. So we're just going to be patient and just see how this thing plays out.
Yeah, and remember, this is the end of the month, Friday. I would be surprised if we see a lot of alerts, to be honest.
I think most of being a Friday, the last day of the month on a Friday, there's been a lot of big moves in like the Euro US this in the last week or so.
Yeah.
And I would expect that anything is that I could expect that maybe there might be some big moves, but I think most of the big moves may have already happened, and it's just going to wait until
Settle in.
next week to stabilize and start taking their positions for next month.
I would probably agree with you.
And if you just take I'll take a peek at this Euro US as we're waiting for the, let's see where the Euro US is right now. You can see I had a nice little alert yesterday, which unfortunately we missed that one. We missed it, but it's sure to go on up to, went all the way up to the 119.08 area, and it's starting to pull back again. But now this was an area that I was looking at yesterday, and came right on up to it. It was respecting this B, came up, tagged it, came back, and then it was able to break through, and then it just followed this trend line all the way up here on this 15-minute chart. And that was a nice little move. If anybody was able to stay in that trade, anybody that got in was able to follow that 13 exponential moving average, they would have had a 126 pips on that one. Nice move, but right now there's no real direction. We don't know if we get an alert on the Euro US. That could be a fun trade if this thing does start to pull back and correct a little bit for the end of the month. So we have our Swiss trade is still in a little bit of a, still kind of fighting. There's not a lot of movement on this one. This thing's been hanging around in a rather tight range since, let's see, that's at 7:20 this morning, and we're at almost an hour. For almost an hour, it hasn't moved more than 6 pips on either side of center line. That's for an hour on a morning like this. That's pretty tight, and that's something you don't ever know. You don't know how if it. I mean, this was a nice big move. We had the alert at 6:05. It pulled back. I mean, if you were looking at, you may have been whipsawed, and it just shot right back up again. So there is a little bit of upward pressure, but it's just, I said, it's having to get through this little basing area up here, this red zone. If it can break through this, then we're going to be looking at this area for a target. The only thing I do like about this one is that it did have a nice move up. It's pretty straight, pretty parabolic. And if we do a trend line on this, I'd be looking at for a possible potential target of bringing it back down to, let's say it comes back down to within that 23 to 38% range. Right now it's right about in the middle of that range up here. This is about the 38.2% Fibonacci. Here's a 23.6, and you see the top of this is right about in the middle. It's coming down just a little bit more, but if it can break to the upside with a little bit of steam behind it, then this is the area that we're going to be looking at, getting up into this area. And I'll make that a little mark on that. I'll take the 0 this is a 1-to-1 move from the range. Here's the 78%. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to move it down about the midway up to it. And so this would be an area that I would be looking to, if it does break out, I'd be looking at getting out of that area there. If it didn't, especially if it had a really strong push behind it. And show that area there. And we'll take this off just to unclutter the chart a little bit. And if it breaks to the downside, if it comes back and breaks to the bottom of the wedge, then this was pretty much the head fake, and then we might get a stronger move to the downside. And let's see if our CAD's doing anything. And still hanging out in between. We're looking at our tools, and by the way, these tools are good. We're very, very close to getting these tools available for everybody. And there will be probably a fee for it, but it'll be nominal. and we're still working out the details. Hopefully we'll have an answer sometime this weekend. Any questions?
Nothing in the chat box yet. Oh, there's a chat. There we go. It's not Andrew just said not cat again.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat with you.
I've not taken anything yet with the CAD today. Say I'm in the Swiss trade, but I say it just keeps on. I have this my stop zone, and this is I mean, I'm not going to give this a lot of room. I'm going to give it a little bit of breathing room, but I'm going to see. I would expect it to bounce off of this 5 period. This is a 5 period exponential moving average. If it does come down, I could see it maybe tag that a little bit. Looking at the higher time frame charts, we can see that all of our moving average, we did get the 1362 cross on the 15-minute chart. That's usually a good sign. But like I said, we'll see. The 62 on the 15-minute chart is pretty much right in the same spot where the 62 is on the 5. And now this one is, these are starting to change direction, but it's, like I said, on a 1-minute chart, we look at it, but we don't give it a lot of weight just because it's a 1-minute chart. It's good for early entries, but it's not real good for the emotional head game that you have to play with. Once you're in the trade, you're better off just watching the 15 or the 5 and using that for your reference. And that's about all I have to say about that.
Yeah, that's
there isn't a whole lot to talk about.
Can't talk about nothing that's not happening.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Where's your okay, I'm looking at my screen thinking, where's your stuff at? I'm looking at on my 15-minute chart, I'm showing all the pairs. As of right now, the US is 5, Swiss is 3, but the CAD is 6. So there's not much separation between 6 and 5 as far as CAD and US.
You're talking about the RCS?
Yeah, the RCS tool. I'm watching on my 15. I have all 8 showing. That way I can get a picture of what's really going on.
I can do that with this. Let me put them up here so everybody can
Then
see what you're talking
on the
about.
other 2. Yeah, I simplified on the other 2.
Put all the symbols up.
That kind of gives you a picture of, again, like we mentioned earlier in the week, even though the RCS numbers have an order, there hasn't been a lot of volume. A lot of uncertainty in the markets currently right now anyway. With school going back in and all the controversies with that, it does have a bleed over effect.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going to happen, and everybody's operating in fear.
And there's still a lot of concern about the U.S. economy, and as they look and see, gold is still making new highs. It's up again today, and as these reports with the virus and whether or not they're going to have school open, whether people are going to be able to open up their businesses, and it's just causing a lot of havoc. And the big question right now is the cure worse than the disease, or is it? And where are we in reality? And no one really knows the answer to that. So this is the RCS tool that that Brian was looking at. This is all of the 8 pairs. And just give you a little bit of explanation about how this thing works. It's basically we have 8 currency pairs, and we go label them from 0 to 7. That's the 8. And what they're doing, you're showing how strong one pair is against the other. And right now you're seeing that the British on this 15-minute chart at the 15-minute level, and it changes for each different level that you're looking at. The British pound is the strongest pair. The Japanese yen is the weakest pair. So if you were looking to trade a pair, let's say you want to trade the British yen, you would be looking at trading that to the strength of the British pound and the weakness of the Japanese yen. And you can see, like right now, where the CAD is. It's right here. The Swiss and the CAD. The Swiss is down here at number two, which basically it's in the bottom 3, and the US dollar is right in the middle. So I like to see at least taking a pair from the top three against the bottom three and just stay away from the ones that are in the middle, which is pretty much where the US is right now. And you can see like the US and the Swiss it's only a 2-point spread. It is showing strength to the dollar against the Swiss, but still nothing to really write home. But I like to see a 5 and have like the US dollar being at least a 5 and then the Swiss being in the bottom three. Then that would give me a little bit better. And that's one reason why I like seeing a 3-point spread when I take these trades. And because usually if it's less than that, especially depending on the time of day, a lot of times you just don't have the volume. Oftentimes you'll start getting some good alerts and good volume around 6:15. It seems like the British market or London market seems to open up and you start getting a little bit of volume kicking in. But and that's one reason why I wasn't too afraid to take this trade, although when it did break out of the top of the wedge, but it is struggling still because the volume just isn't there today.
Right. Guys, is there any questions regards to any of these tools that we've seen? I know he's got the fib plotter. We're going to rename that somehow. It's hidden. Is there anything particular that you guys want to know why we do certain things with certain tools? We can put that in the Q&A or chat if you need an explanation what these are and how we use them, what the settings are, why do we use them. That's kind of a big thing. If you don't already understand, most of you guys, I'm recognizing a lot of your names already, so you guys have seen some of this stuff, but I didn't know if you guys wanted to see a deeper, since it's real quiet right now, see a little bit deeper understanding of it. And nobody's said anything. Everybody's just kind of sitting and chilling today.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a
exactly
Friday.
What you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yes, so it is a Friday.
It's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like I said, with this U.S. Swiss, I mean, I kind of like the Swiss a little bit better, but even that, you can see like right now, both of these, the CAD, the U.S. dollar, the Swiss, they're all right here in the middle, and they're flipping around back and forth somewhat, but nothing's real clear, nothing's real decisive as far as which ones to be looking at. And one thing we could do is we could look at, say, like this British. Well, see, this was the British and the yen. We could take a look at that and just see if. Let me move this out of the way here.
Can you do me a favor and blow up? That doesn't even sound good. Your 15-minute chart. Just put it in one panel. I want to look at something I've never paid attention to.
But this one.
Blow that one bigger.
Like that.
That's fine. Yeah, and then make it in one. Can you show the one and get rid of your 5 in 1 minute?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
I'm just curious. Like, can you spread it out to where it's not just there you go. So it looks like the pound has had this early on. It's had some momentum up,
and now it's just flat, and which means it's holding the strength. It's holding the strength.
U.S. is up and down.
Yes, CAD is and big moves up and down.
Yeah. So if you trace the 15-minute, you can see a trend in that as well, and because here's the thing that we cannot tell: how strong is the pound? Is it really that much more stronger than the CAD, or is it just barely stronger? Are they flipping back and forth? As you just see, the Aussie just flipped. So we can tell by watching the flipping of the Swiss and Aussie that they're really pretty much equal. And at times you will see this tool show, Andrew says it looks like an art display gallery. Yeah. I remember the first time I saw this and I thought, what in the heck is this? Looking at the yen, I mean, it looks like it's been weak most of the morning. I mean, you had a period early on, early this morning that it was high, but from that point on, it's been down. And you can look at these lines and once you get analyzing them, you can kind of get the picture of, is it really strong? And to me, it looks like the pound CAD are the strong ones, and they're staying towards the top third of the list, whereas the U.S. is kind of meandering around along with the euro.
Like I said, that you have the Here's where your middle three are, right in here. I'll see right about.
And you can watch those lines pointing up and pointing down and pointing sideways. You notice we've held with the pound. It's got that nice. If you look back, you can see. I guess that would have been the yen around the 2100. You can see it was the strongest pair, and it was strong for a while. Straight up top,
right here.
right there. Notice how it held the line for a long period of time.
Yeah, right here like that.
Yeah. And so you can see the U.S. at the same time was weak. It was in the bottom 2 or 3 at the most. But you look for those long lines and see, how stable it is. So that's one way you can look at this tool and kind of go, okay. But we just don't have volume, so we don't really know what the strength is. It's not crazy strength today.
Yep.
No, thanks, Al. I just wanted to look at it in a bigger picture.
And that's pretty much what this tool does.
I would never trade it low time without it. And it's similar, guys. I use on the long-term trading stuff, I use sentiment. I'm a contrarian. If the crowd goes one way, I go the other. And I use the same. I will not trade in my swing trading without my SSI tool. I won't trade in wedge trading without the RCS tool because they play similar positions. RCS measures momentum, whereas SSI pretty much most of the time will give you the overall trend. So when majority of people, like when I'm looking at my chart now, I looked at it earlier today. Let's see if I keep trying to click on your screen, Al. That doesn't work. When I look at the Euro US on my screen right now for my day trading stuff, well, not my day trading, but my long-term swing trading, we came into a daily supply, weekly supply, monthly supply, and it went through those areas, but it's now being rejected. But I look at what's happened with the SSI sentiment. Yesterday, the sentiment was 2.8. Majority of people were short.
Brian, I don't mean to interrupt, but right now we're starting to get another breakout. The U.S. Swiss came into the wedge.
Perfect.
We have two can right now is looking to break out at the top right here. We got this fib line right here. If it can, it's been bounced off this before, but it's showing a little bit of strength coming in. We have the one strong candle coming up, followed by the second. If we just get a red candle pullback, then we're looking to come in. Again, remember, you don't have a lot of room to the upside to this. But it has been, we are looking at the dollar is getting stronger on all three of these. And we do have now a 4-point spread on this US to the Swiss. So that did just flip over a little bit. And now the question if you can get into this thing. With this strong move right here, this would have been a possibility to be able to get in knowing that this thing's been.
That's why I got in. I got in because it's already been there.
Yeah. Show it on the 1 minute chart here.
And we got those fib number right there.
Right, here's our fib. And you can see where if we can get a close above that, then I say it'd be, I see right now, anytime you get your two blue candles, here's your red candle right now. As soon as that red candle turns blue, you can take a shot. And you still be pretty close to within your zone. You won't get it in the zone with your spread more than likely, but any type of retest, you can take a shot at anywhere in this area right now.
Waiting for it to go blue. I'm going to add to my position.
$7 pip stop, 14 pip target, buy, and as soon as this candle closes, then you get a blue candle. I'm going to take this trade. I don't like entering on a red candle when I'm going long. I usually like to wait for at least to turn blue.
I like this better. Now, if this turns blue, would you take it?
If it turns blue, I would take it, yes.
Okay.
Because you had a nice strong move. If this red candle turns blue, as soon as this turns blue, that means that sort of helps to validate the spacing. And I probably wouldn't wait for it to close. I would just go ahead and just take it once. If you get a blue, a red, and then followed by another blue candle, that means it's sort of basing in this area. Now I kind of did this before over here. Keep in mind you had a nice big candle, red, then just stair stepped right down, retested it, and went right back up again. This was playing with people's heads right in here. Strong move up, come down, then it shoots right back up again. This is a basing area right in here, but it's not really followed by anything. But it has been respecting, well, it really didn't. It has been respecting this little zone right in here.
And understand, guys, those little candles, maybe 1 pip.
Yeah,
Maybe. It tells you how much it's not moving.
So here, like the top of this is at 90, 95.8. The bottom of this candle is at 90, 93. So basically it's 2.8 pips, only almost 3 pips. That whole candle is only 3 pips.
Amazing.
And you're looking here, the spread is 1.5 on this Savanda platform. It's only 1.6.
So now would you go because it's blue?
I would if it goes blue and goes above this. I'm looking
so
at.
Wait. Yeah,
I still wait. Yeah, I still wait. It's retesting the wedge. Right now, I want to see I like to see a close. I like to see a blue candle that penetrates this area right here. Because right now we had a nice run up, but it's doing the same thing that it did over here. Stair steps on down. Now the fact that this did this a couple of times makes me a little concerned that this was just a couple of head fakes trying to get people sucked into it. And now they're either going to do one of two things. They're going to take their stops and kick everybody out and then go up higher, or it was a head fake this drove everybody down, head fake up, get everybody in.
Your 15-minute hole is still saying to be long. So that could be interesting. It came right down to your stop zone where that base rally is.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically been now it's trading now within this region right here. So from there to the high up here, this is all just a 12 pip range that it is right now. Nice big move, got everybody in, come back, try to take their stops out. I'm considering giving a little bit more like a 10 pip stop than the 7 pip stop. I haven't totally decided on that, but when we have these fib zones are 7 pips, and I like to be able, a lot of times you'll see it bounces at one, takes it out, but it'll go down to about halfway to the next one. And that would be about a 10 pip stop as opposed to, these are 7 pips.
Basically your fib plus spread.
Fib plus spread plus pretty much half the, actually pretty much bringing it down into half the next, midway to the next level. And you can see like this stop zone right now is, if you look at this green line and the blue line, my stop zone is right about in the middle of that. And you can see where there was a little bit of a basing here. So I'm trying to keep it somewhere around there and then bring it down just a little bit more. Now if it comes up, now it came down, passed it, came up, passed it again. Now if it comes down, and this is a little bit of a basing area. So now if it comes down, it should, if it breaks and closes again down here, then I may just take this trade off and call it a day, but we'll see what it does. The fact that it came right up here, this is a 7 pip operating range that it's been in right now. It comes up to the red, passes it, can't quite close above it.
Comes to green, passes it, can't quite finish it below it.
I mean, again, on the 1 minute. Now, if you're looking at a 5-minute candle on this, you can see where this 5-minute candle was. Let's see where it was. This one closed right there. You really didn't get this last candle. It didn't. It opened up down there, but it didn't close. This is 31. Okay, that's right. 6:30. Yeah, this red candle was a 5-minute close. And we'll see if it can come up and if the wedge is going to hold.
Is
or not.
anybody already in this? If you're in this, even demo live, it doesn't matter. If you're already in this, put a yes in the chat box. If somebody's already in it, I'll be curious if anybody pulled the trigger earlier, like I did.
Yeah, I did. I got in right soon after let's say I got in over here an hour ago. I got in right over here when it broke it the first time.
Yeah, Janara's in it, so he's in it, or she. Janar, he or she. I've never heard of that kind of a name. It's a he. My apologies. I will make sure I won't forget that. That's a strong move. Now, are you getting in? Because you had that.
I'm right now. We'll see how this candle closes.
Okay. I'm already in, but
yeah,
I would just like to add to a position if I can.
I would say you can get in. Yes. Yep. Bye.
Very small position adding, just to see what happens.
You see, even though I got here, here's where my spread filled me right there. So right now.
Yeah, that's exactly the same thing at the very, very top for me. We need a break above.
The dollar is strong by 3. Again, it's breaking again with strong by 3, strong by 5 over here, strong by 6. Then we're looking to see if our whole moving averages are where are they at here?
The 5 minutes off, strangely enough. 1 minute's on, but 5 minutes off. Did we make a higher high on that one little wick?
We sure did. We made a higher high, but we don't have a higher close.
Yeah, not yet. But that's a good sign that we had a higher high.
That is a good sign. Yep. And we still have another, well, that we got, now we have the close above our, so that's right there was pretty much an equal high.
Yeah, you're only talking 1 pip.
Yep. And that's your spread, basically. Still looking to see. I'll probably get out if it comes anywhere. If I can get close to, my trade right now is from way back over here. It's just about break even right now.
I'm at 1% of my account at this point. 1.5. Need just a little bit more. That is the battle spot right there at that supply line.
Yep.
Now you got all 3 whole green.
Right, and that's a good sign right there when you get all 3 green at the break.
Blue line on RSI is above the orange. That's a good sign. We just need to stay above for a while. We still haven't had that close that we're looking for.
Not yet. Get these targets in here. I got to change that default on this. Take profit 7. Stop loss of, make this one 10. I see my target's right up here. That 7 pips will get me right up here at this Fibonacci line.
Yeah, we need to
again a little bit of a basing here, so that's good. That was a doji right there, right? This second, there's a nice blue candle. There's a doji, which is basically where it opened and closed at the same spot. Very little movement. Now we have a little bit of a trailing coming on here. So we have a higher high. Now we have the higher close, I think.
Pretty darn close, man.
Yep. Again, we wanted to see a close above this level, and we did. That's our
US
highest
is
high
6,
right now.
Swiss is 3 on the 15. RCS 6 and 3. So we've got the US getting some strength, and it's pointing up on the 15.
And now I'm going to move my stop zones up a little bit higher. I'm going to move it down over to, look over here, I'm going to move right down to, here's a little bit of a wick, come to the body, and then bring it down to the bottom of that. Again, this is my, give a little bit more room, but save a little bit if it does come against me.
For those who are relatively new to trading, what he just marked is actually what we call a rally-based rally. You had a pivot low. It stopped and hesitated for 2 candles. That basing right there is a rally. That's a basing, and then we rallied out. And so it looks like we're trying to do another rally-based rally. But usually when you see a pivot followed by a rally-based rally, that's a pretty good solid area for your stop or to get in on a retest.
Because if it retests, it's going back and it's going to check and see if there's any more orders in here to be filled, and it's going to take it back up. Or if there aren't any more orders, it's going to break through and go down to retest the bottom part.
Everything on our tools is looking good with our RCS, and our MRSIs are still blue above orange and pointing up. That's a good sign.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and take part of my profit off.
All these are pointing, these are all out of the 40-60 zone pointing up, out of the 40-60 zone pointing up, out of the 40-60 zone pointing up. We have 3 green on all the whole moving averages, and all 3 of these RCS tools are all showing that the dollar strength, dollar is the first currency of the pair, and therefore looking to, we want to be trading that direction.
That was my 2%, but I've got that 0.01 still sitting on when we got in together when I added. Check your US CAD real quick while you're watching this one.
US CAD starting to break out of the top actually with
breaking out of the top.
Yeah, a little bit of dollar strength.
It is at the very, very top right now. It has not broken.
Yeah, keep an eye on that. If it breaks on the 1 minute, let me know.
Yep.
As I'm watching this one.
You got it.
It's a nice little rally, short little red candle. You see it's coming right up into this area, this shaded, this red zone here, which is, but
you just broke the US CAD. You're just at the very, very top now.
Okay.
We got the alert. It's being rejected, but that doesn't mean it's not going to break it. Now it broke and rejected. So we're right at the very top. I wouldn't take anything yet because it hasn't had a close inside that box. Now it's being rejected. Got some movement. What time is it?
All right, now it's at 8:30, 8:40.
Yeah. It's strange to have this kind of. I'm ready to go with this one though.
See right now this thing's coming up right about in between this. It did get to break up the red line, but now it's a little bit of it's a battle right in here.
Still no entry on the CAD, so keep staying with your Swiss.
In fact, these are still pointing up fairly strong. That's a good sign. And I said everything else is still showing that it's still not giving up. Let me see our moving averages on this. Right now we have all the moving averages are in the right direction. All the moving averages on all 3 charts are in the correct direction. It just broke through. This is the 30-minute exponential 62 moving average.
Now we have a break on if it will close in there, then we may have an opportunity for a long on the CAD.
And there's our target and we just hit our target on the Swiss. I'm done with that trade.
So now you're gonna flip over to the CAD.
And we flip over to the CAD and see how things are going over here.
I'm with you.
Right. Yeah. Okay, everything is still, it's almost the same type of picture that we just had with the Swiss.
Hurry.
When it rains, it pours. Okay, here we're still waiting for this candle to close above. We don't have a close yet above the wedge. We do have our 3 green on the whole. We have strength on the U.S. on all 3.
There we have our
There's a
close.
close, and I'm going to take this one. If I can get in there in time. There you go.
I'm in.
All right, goodbye.
And you said you're going to start using a 10 pip stop loss?
I'm going to start using a 10 pip stop on some of these here. And we can look and see where we are. Right now, it broke right in between the 2. So this could actually give us a little bit of a pullback still.
So, but I like that 10 idea. I'm a big proponent of a little wiggle room.
Yeah, the 7. I've been stopped out way too many times with right at my 7 pips, and I'm seeing more and more that when it breaks through these fib zones, it breaks through. But if it breaks through the 1, it goes halfway to the next one. So that gives me, and a lot of times you're not getting in right at the fib zone, so you have to kind of give that a little bit of a, and even rather than doing just exact 10 pips, just bring your stop down. You have the zone that it breaks in, and bring it halfway down to the next one. It's like right here, it broke. We have a close above the green. You get in somewhere up here, but take it down to the next blue one, and halfway to the next one.
That makes sense.
So I'm just going to say, split the difference between this and this, put it right about in here, and say this is my stop zone. This is the beginning. This is where I'm going to start paying attention. And you can look and see over here does it make sense? And you can use like that in the next. Use this as the stop zone, the next fib line halfway to, and just
Have you found that the U.S. CAD is notorious for head fakes?
It does that a lot.
I still think the long is in position here, but I just think like that wiggle room, we're going to need it. We're going to need it.
And right now we still have green on. I mean, everything's still showing strength to the dollar strength.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pullback. But one thing I like about this is you still have your RSIs are still above the 60. The 8 period is right at 61, and just barely hanging there. But that's still I consider bullish. This would be a pullback. If we see this can come down and hook, we'll see where this thing hooks. See where my I get this thing down here. This is the 11%. Here's the 89%. And oftentimes you'll just see this blue line come down, tag the 11, hook. If it can hook and then cross over the 8, then you're back in business again.
Where your cursor's at is really where I'm looking.
Oh, up here?
Right where you were sitting. Yeah, that's kind of I like your stop zone is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. And so I like the fact that this thing's pulling back, and these are still hanging in there at the top, above this 60%. There's a little bit of a hook. This thing could very well just come back and test this.
Where'd your whole moving average go? Did you turn it off?
No, there it is.
Okay. So 1 minute short. Okay. Spread got me.
Kicked you out?
Yeah, I was in demo anyway because I'd already reached my daily goal. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it again and play the same range.
right now, all of our moving averages are still in alignment here. As long as this thing can hang above the green on this 5-minute chart, it's holding me above the 62. And a lot of times you'll see it come down and it'll test the yellow 13 moving average. And I noticed yesterday when it came back and actually tagged it and then took off again. So a lot of times that tag is a good indication, good place to try and get in again.
Did anybody in the room jump into CAD? Either demo or live? Or I see somebody raise their hand. Is that hand raise a question? Okay, they lowered their hand. They're saying I did. Okay, so James did, Jannar did. Yeah, demo's cool. That's perfectly. That's exactly what I'm doing right now too. I got my daily bread. I am not about to lose it on a Friday. I like to play though. I love to get in a demo and watch and learn. I have a little harder time doing it in demo because it's not. I know it's not real money for me, but the learning process is still good.
I think the important part is it's not so much the money. For me, it's not so much the money that I make or don't make. It's the consistency that I'm trying to just gain that consistency. Because once you gain the consistency, you gain the confidence. Once you gain the confidence, then you can put larger sums of money into it, and then it becomes life-changing. But until you get the consistency, it can be very frustrating. Is if you trade and give it back and trade and give it back. And that's where you have to learn what you need and what your expectations are and what your risk tolerance is, because it starts playing on your head.
Yeah.
And there's so much of this whole trading is learning how to control your emotions, know that you're going to have the emotions in it, but you also know how to control it, and become rather matter of fact. When everything is, you know what you're looking for to take the trade. And even with this trade right now, everything was in alignment. We had all the strength. The time of day was good. We had all the spreads we needed. We had the breakout. You take the trade. It's either going to work or it doesn't. If it doesn't work, it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just that it just didn't work.
And with proper position sizing, you can be wrong quite a bit and still be profitable.
Yeah. I know people that have 90% win rates and they still lose money because their wins are so small and their losses are so big that 10% loss that they have wipes out 90% of their gains.
And then we just wait again.
And then we wait again. Still no new alerts. Still waiting on that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see a lot of morning alerts. I bet you as soon as we're done today around 10 o'clock,
9:30 today.
I bet you'll start seeing more because wedge patterns are just a consolidation. And so the natural, the natural market's going to slow down more than it is now and will form wedges before the next week. So just be careful if you are trading later in the morning or wherever you're at, a few hours from now. And then there we go. That's what. Notice the CAD. I don't know. I'm looking at your screen or my screen. Let me see. No, you're not showing your 15, so it must be mine. Here you are.
Actually, I'm all three.
U.S. CAD has flipped up to the 5. So it's a very, very tight strength meter right now. And the blue line is below the orange on two different RSIs. So it doesn't mean it won't go long. It just means we could have a sustained pullback.
You know for sure it's going to be wrong when it pops out the bottom of the wedge.
Right. That's kind of a given.
Yeah. The problem with that is sometimes your risk level is significantly. I mean, you're looking at in order to pop out the bottom, if you got in all the way up here and you popped out the bottom of the wedge, you're looking at 26, 27 pips, which is a lot. Which starts getting up into the zone of being hard to recover from if you're only taking 7 pip profits. Now, one thing I would be looking at right now is if I look at the 5-minute chart, I'm going to be looking to see where this trend is we have the anchor of the C. Here's a trend hit. So if I do a trend line from my C to here, if it breaks this trend, I can see where it may just bounce off of this. And we'll see what happens. Because that would be because right now you're kind of forming somewhat of a channel.
You're forming an ascending wedge again.
There's a little channel right here. You align it from here to here to here. Here's your hit. Now, if it breaks out of the bottom of this channel, it's probably going to go lower. But I'm going to stay in this trade at least until I get a pass. If it breaks this and comes back and checks it, and if I have a fib line right there, which we got this be right about the middle of these two lines, which is where I was on my 5-minute. You see right here, here's a fib line, here's a fib line. This is right about the middle. So if we get a break of this point right here, and we'll see.
Did you notice your headlines at the bottom right there where it said?
Dollar has for biggest monthly drop in decades as virus, fuels U.S. As virus something U.S. economy.
Kind of fuels U.S. economy fears. That's what we were talking about earlier. Usually when I see on longer term trading, when I see something say something about fear, I'm usually looking to be a buyer somewhere.
Yep.
And then when it says is poised to go higher, then I'm usually looking to be a seller.
What's interesting, I was talking to some gold dealers the other day, and they're saying they are so swamped with people buying gold right now. Well, gold's right now is at its pretty much its all-time high, going higher, but nonetheless, it's people are buying like crazy, trying to protect their because they don't know what else to put their money into. The stock market's all over the place, so they're a little bit afraid of the stock market. So people will go to the Swiss franc, they'll go to the yen for a safe haven, and they go to precious metals for safe havens. So, but if you're buying gold right now, you're buying at the all-time high.
Which is opposite of what you really want to be doing.
Which is the exact opposite of what you want to be doing.
We go out and buy cars and try to get them as cheap as possible, but we get into the trading and we like to buy on highs. Good call on that stop zone so far.
Sometimes you can't always just say, okay, I'm just going to use 7 pips, because sometimes depending on the pair or the chart, you're better off just look and see what the price action is. Try and keep it close to that 7 pips, or maybe give it a little bit more wiggle room. But I basically took, rather than taking 2 positions, I only took 1. And actually now would be not a bad time to maybe take that second position, although I don't like taking the second position when it's inside the wedge like this. If I took a second position, I want to see it close above this green line before it hits the wedge. But you see, like when you look at this, I mean, right now this fib line is having some respect, but it keeps on cycling back and forth, and it's moving within on either side you're moving within a 10 pip range of that 10 pips up, 10 pips down. That's actually 8. So I got 8 pips to the downside below the line, and about 12 pips above the line. But right now we don't know if it's going to break this or not. I said this pair is notorious for getting you out of the wedge, come back down, pull out, and then just, it's notorious for that.
That's not my favorite pair.
It's not my favorite pair either, but it's the one that's been showing up on the alerts at this time for the last couple of days.
Those daggum Canadians.
Yeah. The U.S. CAD is tied to oil an awful lot. That's usually when you see oil moving, you see CADs moving a lot too. You ever trade the oil futures?
I think we very well may test the bottom of the wedge.
Could very well.
Or it's going to magically pop up, and it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to go up or down.
Down, or it could go sideways.
It could go sideways, like it's been doing for the last couple hours.
Yeah, and if you really look at this, you see where if you look at your overall range, it's really trading inside this. I mean, the bottom. I mean, if you can
B2C.
Yep, it's trading inside this peak up here. I mean, the overall range between your A and this pivot high. Now we drew the wedge, so it was just trying to break, but it still had all this that kind of come through. This was where the target would have been. It had broken through and closed above.
But look at your session line. From the time the session opened, B and D are your highs.
Yeah. And right now it's pretty much trading inside that box. If we draw a box around this thing between your B since yesterday's session.
That's our box.
This is our box. Let me see if I can outline this a little bit stronger here. That's pretty evident there. And you can see, like right now, if this is our box, and right now it's right down. If you draw a fib line on this, a straight Fibonacci fib line on the box, it's coming right down into this 23% range. So 23%, upper 23%.
$23 to 76, $23 to 76, $23 to 76. I do it on Monday nights all the time.
Yeah. You see, like right now, it's right at the 61. So of the box is right at the 61%. And see, now it came right down, tested that line. Now it's come up and retested. Now, if it can break through this upper red parallel, that could make for an interesting trade. And that might be the break we're really looking for, which is right at where we got in the first place.
Need that 5-minute candle to close there for you, buddy.
Yep. Need this to close above this green fib line. You see how you can also see where, if you see this is where the 61, you see you have a multiple confirmation here. You have our Fibonacci lines from our price, and we also have the Fibonacci line from the range. And you see where it overlaps right at this point right here. So this is a very critical point right now. There's like two different areas to be looking at with that.
But before you ever did the retracement tool, you said if we can get it closed above the green line.
Yep. I still don't want to take it. The fact it's still inside this box, I still want to take a second position until it breaks out the top.
I agree.
Although it's very tempting to,
because you
but
could
you
be
can
just
see
adding to a potential
it's very
problem.
tempting. Yeah, you could be adding to some potential trouble. You could be adding to it could work for you or against you. You could either, if this thing decides to break out of the bottom, now you just add to a losing position. I don't like adding to a losing position. I'd rather have the one position being at least positive before I add to it.
Den, we're working. Matter of fact, I'm going to meet with Al immediately following this session to discuss the tools, all the tools that you're seeing here. We're going to be talking about it. We've been in discussions with Auvoria Prime. So hopefully we have an announcement next week for you.
I would like to take a poll if we could. This would really this would really help us out. How many in this room right now?
You're not in charge of polls. That would be me.
Okay, you take the poll. You take
What's
the poll.
What poll do you want?
How many people in the room now would be willing to pay a small fee to be able to get these tools? Because I don't think they're going to be offered free. Now the question is, would you be, of the people that we have in the room, how many would be willing to pay a small fee?
And these are 9 indicators. There's 9 different indicators that we're looking at right now.
We're looking at a package deal of the Fibonacci, the moving averages, the RSI, and the RCS tool as a package deal. We're looking at the packaging. You get them all for the same price. How many? If you could raise your hands, how many people would be willing to pay a small fee for that?
I see Leslie said she would, and then we got 2 hands raised. So that's 3 so far that we know of. There's still, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about, Dre, is small fee. That's exactly what we've been talking about, that we can't make this thing crazy. Although the value is
now, Dre, here's a question for you, Dre. What would you consider to be a small fee?
Yeah, that's a great. Dan says a 50 over 50 or lower. I say, Al, can I tell him?
You can tell him. Let's just say lower than 50.
We're gonna be lower than. I would say half of that.
Yeah,
that's the goal. At least half of that, if not even lower.
Yeah,
that's what, Dre. We're trying to go lower. We're trying to make it to where it makes sense for everybody, because TradingView only allows 3 indicators at one time on the free version. So,
and we're trying to do is get so where you could use, you would still be short one. And if you get TradingView on the free version allows 3 indicators, we're basically bundling up 4 indicators, which should still be kind of one short.
You would still have them. You'd have to choose which one you don't show.
Right, and you could flip back and forth. You can only use one. You just can't have more than 3 on one chart. You could have maybe another platform, another layout that has the other indicator. So you don't. I mean, and you're oftentimes not needing all of them at the same time. But that's pretty much what we're talking here. So we're talking. It would help people to be able to not have to buy the upgraded version of TradingView to be able to get all the indicators on. But they're looking to do it. We're looking at having it be an add-on to the subscription fee with the when you get AIRIS. You can get just the AIRIS, or you get the AIRIS with an add, or you can pay so much a month extra for the indicators.
It's a win-win. Sal's been great. Sal and Al talked yesterday. I missed the conversation, but it sounded like it was really interesting. So we've got to finalize that with the developers of the software, the tools themselves, and then get with the legal team and financial team of Auvoria Prime to get it all, to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get access to it. It'll be fun. Al, did you add to your position?
Not yet.
Okay, so you didn't do it. Now,
Not yet. No.
if this candle goes green, would you?
I'm not going to add to it till it breaks out the top of the wedge
Okay,
again.
so you're going to wait for the break.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for the break because I'm not convinced this thing's not going to break out the bottom.
Nor am I.
And you see where it came when you're with this Fibonacci, right? As we drew this right now, it went right up to the upper quarter, bottom
76.
quarter. It's just bouncing right back and forth. And eventually it's going to break out of something because as these trend lines start to, uh, because the trend lines are making it going tighter and tighter and tighter. But if we get this break of this bottom red trend line, it's going to be challenging the 23%. And it's like here, I mean, this is the lower 25% of the box right here. So it could break this trend line and still be within the box, our white box that's trading. And like I said, it's trending inside of the box, which is going sideways. So all in all, it's a sideways trend, but on lower time frames, you can see where it pulls back, but it's still staying in the sideways of this box right here, which is about a 30 pip box. But once it breaks out of this area, then we're looking to coming down to these other areas.
And to answer your question in the chat box, yeah, it doesn't matter which trading view you have. You'll have access to these tools. We're just trying to for those who don't really want to spend more on Pro or Premium or Pro Plus, we're trying to make it to where it's very easy to get to these tools and have them available without much extra cost. I have Pro Plus, so.
And the thing is, it just consider it all costs of doing business. I mean, bottom line is that what we're looking at is so that you could take one trade. If you can get one winning trade a month with a small account to help pay for the indicator, that's kind of what we're looking at trying to do.
That's a win.
That's a win. And then just becomes cost of doing business.
What's the measurement of those candles, Al?
What was that?
Last two? What's your measurements?
What's the measurement of them? Oh,
of the last two?
The measurement of these are wick to wick is 15 pips.
Wow, those are some big moves considering what we've seen.
On a this is on a 5-minute chart, but yeah. Now this would be, if you're looking at this as being the trend line, it came right down, it closed right on this trend line. Now it's breaking through. Now the question is it come back and retest, and is it going to break out the bottom? Again, this could be another head fake. It could be a head fake down to here, come back, and then you're still looking at the overall, the original trend is still inside, this line is still inside the box.
Aren't you glad you didn't add to the position?
I'm glad I didn't. That's why I said I don't like taking trades inside the wedge. Now sometimes you say, oh gosh, if I just would have taken it up here, then I could have, no. You could have had your 15 pips before you even broke out of it, but you don't know.
That's gambling.
That's gambling. I find out that sometimes I draw my wedges a little bit bigger than a lot of people do, but I find out it keeps me out of some whipsaws. Because once it breaks out of this box, then you're looking to see, okay, where's it really going to go after it breaks out of this area? Where are we looking at going? And so you come over here to your 15-minute, take a look and see where's the next stop on the railroad, and it's going to be pretty much down to this level right here. If it breaks out, you're going to come all the way down because here's where the nice big move up. This is a 15-minute chart. Now this is a move up, came back, pulled back, and then it took off again, and it retested. So right here where the A is, and right here, this is a zone. Let me take this off. It's looking like it's trying to break out, but we're looking at, on the downside, we're looking at right here as a target. If it breaks out the bottom, And we're looking at this one right here.
So I'm going to blow mine up and get prepared for a possible short if everything goes correct.
And from this fib line, we'll have, let's see, this is a 15-minute fib line, which is significant. You see where it just bounced right off of that. And this is the original wedge right here.
Boom, boom, boom.
But it did break out of this channel, but we haven't got to close yet. I'm still looking to see if I still want to see a breakout of here. And this is at 4. So right here, you would have 9 pips from here down to this wick right there. And how's our other, we have, so right now the CAD is showing strong on all 3.
I took this short because my wedge was a little bit different than yours.
Oh, so you ever had to break out the bottom?
Yeah.
So did you use this line for the wedge?
I got to look at your screen here because I'm marking up mine. Slide yours over here to this other place. And compare yours to mine. Let's see. My, excuse me. My, let me get this set up here real quick.
Here's the alert at 7:15.
Yes, I've got my A is sitting on 307, 306 area. Is that 406? I don't know if that's 406 yours. C is sitting on 529.
5, okay, right here, probably.
Yeah, so you got A at 3. And I'm looking at the 1 minute chart. So,
okay.
and my like you, my top is flat.
So actually, I could see this being like this, and then the top being flat, right?
Yeah, my
there.
top is flat.
But see, right now that would tell me, based on this wedge, this is a little tighter wedge. This was the bottom of the wedge right here. You have your AC broke out. Now it's be retesting the wedge.
Right, I'm touching it right now.
Yep. You had the breakout, and then you're retesting it.
All moving averages are in the right spot. We did close below the 30 minutes, 62 on the 1 minute. It is now above it though, so who knows? We have a question in the chat box I see. Could you please put here the Telegram channel? Yeah, I'll do it right now for you. Let me go over there and get our Telegram channel link. I'll put it in the chat box here in just a second. We're going to start using that a little bit more in the very, very near future. More than just posting of links. We're going to provide some other information there. It is now in the chat box for you guys. Thanks for reminding me to do that too. I haven't done that in quite some time. I need to move my stop loss just a tad higher. We're going to go for the 10 pip thing. Do some testing on that 10 pip thing. Yeah, so if you're not on the Telegram channel, please do so. And I believe you can scroll up and get a position size. It was one of the first posts we made in that channel was position size calculator. And so that's, if you can't get to it and you need that, let me know. But you should be able to get to it. Well, you just have to scroll up. You know what's bad is when you get your breakfast already. I drank my breakfast and it's been sitting here. I've been so consumed I forgot that I was hungry. That's a great way to lose weight, though, my friend.
Yeah. I sat here with a cup of tea 2 hours ago, and I still have most of it left still. You see how it's sort of this whole thing respected. This is what's interesting. Now, Brian and I both drew the wedge. We do it a little bit differently, but I had a little deeper, bigger wedge. He had a little tighter one, but you actually see that this is a valid wedge inside where I drew it and where he drew it. This actually has a little smaller wedge inside, and it is trying to decide which one does it want to respect. It came down, broke that, tend to get you in. Right now we have all red on this whole moving average, but it is basing. We had a nice big move up, big move down, and now it's respecting the blue fib line. And this is a 5-minute fib line, so that means there's like this line right here, this 3404 area. You're going to see that it's the same. You have a red 15-minute, so it's a 15-minute line, and you have a blue line here, and also a blue line off here 1 minute. So this line right here is it's got 3 different time frames that's respecting.
And my target is right above that. My entry allows me to be right at the 34056. So if it gets anywhere close to that, I'm going to go ahead and take it off, take my profit. It may not be the full 7, but I don't mind having a nice 6.
And you can see that right now all the whole moving averages are red, so it would make sense to use that as a target, and you could get your 7 pips with that.
Janar, are you saying you can't see the chat box, or you've gone to the Telegram and you don't see the tool? Tell me which one you need, and I'll make sure you get it. Because there is a difference between the chat box and the Q&A box. The Q&A box is much easier for us to, it brings a red flash on my screen to alert me that there's a question. Whereas the chat box, if I don't watch the chat box, I can't see it. I mean, there's no alert. So I posted in the chat box, the Telegram, but your question was posted in the right spot, the Q&A box. So there, you probably won't see anybody else's questions there. Just let me know what you need, though, if anything at this point.
Now, it's interesting. We have the flip now where all our moving averages are in the right direction to go short.
I'm not liking how this is looking overall, though.
As we said, this is not one of our favorite pairs.
Yeah, I do it in demo. Very good. I'm glad you got it. Cool. I put it in both the Telegram, and then I also replied to your question there. That way you had the Telegram channel twice. Let's see what we got here, big guy. So cat is still stronger. Blue is still under orange. We may be all right. Just not one of my favorite pairs. We have one trader in our BK2 trading group that does a lot of manual trading. He loves the US CAD. I've never seen why he does. but he does well with it. Yeah, that's not good. U.S. is just, well, it's flip-flopping.
It actually came down, tested the red line, broke the red, broke the green, closed below, coming up, tested the red line, couldn't close.
This is great analysis, though. This makes you have to stop and look and pay attention. And it just goes to show there's no way we can predict which way it's going to go. We just have to put the odds in our favor and take the shot.
I do like the fact that we had the strong move down, came back, closed below the green, came back, tested this twice now. I think this is going to break to the downside.
I hope you're right.
Our RSIs are agreeing with that. We have the hole on the 15, the 5, and as soon as we get 3 red on here, then it'll be another opportunity to. I did get out of my long on this last pullback right up in here. I just took the hit.
That's what I love about this room too. We will be completely transparent that we have losses. It happens. There's no promises.
See, right now it's trading inside the 7 pip range. And if we can get a close below the screen line, that might be an early entry. And right now, on Brian's entry, it would be entered right in here. My entry's down here, but the bottom line is that right now it's between these 2 fib lines. If we can get a close below the screen, then I say this thing's going to get broken. And this can be right into where his target is.
Mm-hmm.
If this can break, then we're going to go all the way down here. And the fact that this thing head faked us all the way up at this part of the wedge gives me reason to think that this thing's going to go strong to the downside. When I see this strong move down, strong move up, and another, and this here is the head fake here. You have strong blue candle, strong red candle right next to it. This red candle engulfed this blue one, and then it broke out the bottom. Now it's retesting. So we have a little bit of a drop. It's basing right in here. But we are still inside of our box.
Excuse me. We could be going up there and testing that 62 on the 1 minute.
Could very well.
You're only a pip or 2 away.
What I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at this area right in here where the 62 on the 5 and the 13 on the 5.
Yeah, you're 62 and you're 13 on the. You're 62. No, you're 13 on the 5. Looks like you're 62 on the 1. It's about the same spot.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how I was going to say that. We need to have a lower low on this little last 15 candles. We've had a pivot low, high, higher low, higher high. Now we need to see that thing drop like a rock.
Let's see if I can tighten this thing up a little bit here. We don't need it quite that big. There we go.
Guys, just out of curiosity while we're sitting here awaiting this, if you would in the chat box, tell me where you're from. Just curious where everybody's from. As far as if you're in the States, which state? Estonia. Okay, well, we got them all. Okay. Jamaica, Estonia, Alberta. I made fun of the Canadians. I shouldn't have done that. I get in trouble all the time, but we got another Canadian there with Saeed. Well, how to win friends and influence people. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I really am. Yeah. I pick on everybody I like. It doesn't matter who they are. So we got them from all over. What time is it in Estonia right now? I'm just trying to kind of get the times. We're 9:30 Central or 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central almost. Curious as to what time of day it is there. 4:30 in the afternoon. Okay. Yeah, this is a good time for you.
I like how this thing came up and respected this yellow moving average. I do like
I just want to see a lower low.
It is basing right in here.
Yeah.
And usually when you see a basing before the break, that's usually when you're going to get a strong break to the downside or to the upside, depending on where the basing is. But still kind of respecting this little trend line right here.
Oklahoma City. I have relatives in the Yukon area. If you ever get a chance outside of Oklahoma City, there's a restaurant called The Big Easy, kind of Cajun food. That's ran by my cousins. Totally off topic, but when I think Oklahoma City, my mom was from Enid. So I spent a lot of time in Enid, Oklahoma. Yeah. That's where my dad was flight training. And that's where he met my mom. Man, I wished I was in Northwest Florida right now. I love the Panhandle area.
All right, it's 9:30. It's time for things to be moving with the markets going to be opening up here and it should be open now.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to shut down the session yet until we had a chance to see what nothing was going to happen. Probably not. I'm just, again, it's a Friday.
And no, I thought we were going to get another alert there, but we didn't.
Not yet. Yeah, Roselle, you need to check it out. You need to check it out. It's actually my second cousins that run the store, the restaurant. Good kids. They've done well. Yeah, I would have thought we'd had a little bit more push, but being that's the end of the month, like we mentioned at the beginning, and being that it's a Friday, we're not getting a whole lot of push. We are seeing up and down quite a bit, but it's all within a 1 pip range. There's one push up to the 62, which you were talking about is the 13 on yours. That might do the up move. That may be the head fake we were looking for.
One-time price still respects those 62 moving averages.
Yeah, I think this may go up higher, Al, before it finally breaks down at the end of the day.
Yeah. We can sit here
Like
and
I
watch
did
this
the
all
other
day.
day.
We can
The
sit here
other
and watch
day,
this all day.
I know the other day I took it long. I thought, no, it was short. I can't remember which one it was. And I got out of it right before we were done. I said, I'm not going to watch this, only to see later on it do its thing, just like we predicted. I didn't want to sit there and watch it the whole time. U.S. is the strongest pair right now with the opening. That can change. That could be strictly based on the opening and volume at one point. So usually it takes, another 10, 15 minutes and it'll settle into its groove for the day and resumes where it was to begin with. But this one may go a little bit up higher for a short time. Although we got some things pointing down, that's a good sign.
Yep. Came up, the came right up and bounced right off of this 62 on the 5-minute.
This is another reason why we think it's so important for everybody who does IRIS to have these tools, because you're going to have, if you put all these moving averages on at one time, it would eat up all your free moving averages. We put them all in one script, so you have them all color coded just like owls. Pretty amazing.
The nice thing about this, what happens is you have the 62, as you get different time frames, it changes colors. The green and the yellow stay the same on all time frames, but the 62, which is the key one that we look at, we have it color coded to the 5-minute chart, color coded to the 1-minute chart color, and so whenever you switch charts, it'll automatically switch the colors for you.
We probably will need, once we get this available to people, we probably need to create a video to show them how to set it up, Al.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. And that way, just all the details of the tools. There's a lot of flexibility in it. And upgrades are coming. It's cool. It's going to be good. Well, Al, we've run to our time.
Yep, and it looks like we're back inside the middle of the wedge again, and we need to. I say everyone's got to watch this one on their own. We know, the rules. You know what the plan is. So
exactly. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good weekend.
And we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, we'll see you guys a little bit later. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right. Bye now.
No problem.